Hey you guys, it's Britt, and I'm here to talk to you about Jonathan Joly. He put out a video a few days ago, and I did a poll on my community page, and you guys wanted to hear my thoughts. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so if you're not familiar with who Jonathan is, he is part of the SacconeJolys. I always have an issue pronouncing their name, but so he's part of this channel. He and his wife have a family vlog, and they put out some really problematic content in the past. I have talked about them one other time on my channel. It was a few months ago when they started exposing their son, Eduardo, and essentially, using him for views, and there's just no way to look at that as educational, positive. There's just nothing good that I can see out of what they've done with this situation. And I don't subscribe to their channel, but this video was brought to my attention. It was published on July 9th, and the title is Coming Out. And right now it has 559,000 views, 14,000 likes to 7.1 thousand dislikes, and the comments are crazy. So the whole idea of this video is not him coming out. He's not coming out. So it's, complete clickbait as far as that goes. And I know that some people, everyone looks at clickbait in a little bit of a different light. For me, if it's something lighthearted, I don't really care about clickbait. But if it's something as serious as this, where you are making people think that you are coming out, literally like you're coming out, but that's not what it is at all. That is far too much of a sensitive topic to use as clickbait. I just don't think that it's okay. And some people don't like clickbait at all. For me, I just don't think that it's that big of a deal unless it's something really serious, like you're clickbaiting that you have an illness or that, someone was injured or died, or like this, where you're clickbaiting coming out when that's not really what's happening. So I want to read the description of this, and spoiler alert, this whole video was just to plug a book that he's coming out with. And then I want to read you some of the comments, because instead of reacting to the video, I don't feel like giving them, my social media currency for the second time. I already watched it once, and that was enough for me to be disgusted by what he did here. So I want to read the description, and then I want to read some of the comments from their longtime subscribers, people that have followed them since before they had children, because I think that's really telling. These are people who have supported their journey, been there for a very long time, consumed so many years of their content, and if those people are upset, then I think that this is very telling of just, how many people he offended by doing this video. If you click on the link, it takes you to where you can pre-order the book. So that's all the link is. And then it says, growing up in conservative 1980s Dublin, where there was little tolerance for children who were different, Jonathan Joly was indeed a different sort of child, creative, expressive, and on the inside, a girl. The limitations of the people around him to understand his differences led to years of tyrannical bullying and abuse, forcing him to withdraw himself to the point of clinical abstinence. His only chance for survival was the inner world he created for himself, rich with loving and supportive friends and playmates that only he could see. Jonathan's invisible friends were his lifeline, and on that day at the airport, they came flooding back and have remained with him to this day. All my friends are invisible. This extraordinary and beautifully written childhood memoir is not only an important, thought-provoking, and exhilarating read, it provides hope and community for all those who have ever felt other, and proves how vital it is to provide children with a safe place to be themselves, the absence of which can have dire consequences. Jonathan Joly was born in Dublin in 1980. After several torturous years of childhood bullying, abuse, and chronic misunderstanding from both adults and his peers, He was sent to a school for children with emotional difficulties. On finishing school, he floated from one career path to the next, eventually landing at university to study multimedia. It was here where he met Anna Saccone, and in 2009, Jonathan and Anna started creating YouTube videos about their lives from their small flat in Cork, Ireland. Over the next 12 years, as the couple married, had children, and moved to the UK, they became one of YouTube's most beloved families internationally. Across their social channels, they now have over 7 million devoted followers and friends. All My Friends Are Invisible is Jonathan's first book. So as I start reading these comments, I want you guys to keep this one thing in mind. He says, it is vital to provide children with a safe space to be themselves, the absence of which can have dire consequences. To me, that does not equate to exploiting your son for views and money on YouTube. Those two don't add up to me, and I don't think that that's an unpopular opinion. I just don't understand how you can claim that if you don't give your child a safe place, then it will have dire consequences. But your children have been exploited for money and views on YouTube since they came out of the womb. So these are, in fact, complete opposites. YouTube is not a safe place for children to grow up. The internet is not a safe space to have children's stories told to strangers on the internet. It should be up to the child, once they are old enough to understand how they're feeling and what they, what their emotions are. It is up to them to come tell that story once they are a little bit older. Not saying that they have to be 18, but at least once they're in their teenage years, they can, they can kind of sort through how they feel. Do they want this story to be public? Instead, you have made it public for the world to see, and Eduardo is still a very, very young child. So let's go through some of the comments. This one says, so many people would have supported you with creating a book, as it's just an achievement, but using this clickbait is so disgusting. This is why so many people are calling for YouTube to cancel all family vlogger accounts because of the exploitation of their children. This is so unfair on Eduardo. Leave him be and let him tell his story when he's older. And that's exactly what I agree with. If he would have done a video just advertising for his book, that's one thing, but he used clickbait, and then he also brought his child son into it to integrate that as part of his video. It's gross. This video should be shown to parents thinking of becoming YouTubers who share their children. You should be ashamed of yourselves for profiting off of your children for all of these years. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Nobody said that, don't ever post a picture of your kid or don't ever, do any of that. But on this level, that's, kind of what this whole conversation is about, is once the parents have become very wealthy off the backs of their children who are still too young to consent, that is where it becomes a problem. You've definitely raised your son how you wish you were raised, without remembering the two are different. Just because you struggled with gender doesn't mean Eduardo would have the same issues. So pushing your wishes onto him is purely confusing for him, to say the least. I feel for the LGBTQ plus community right now. This isn't a coming out video, it's a book advert. Clickbait at its finest. I'm so confused. Are you coming out, or are you trying to out your son? Either way, it seems wrong. Eduardo is a child. Please don't include Eduardo in this book. He should tell his story in his time. Do not exploit your children. The money isn't worth it. I think it's fully his choice to tell his story, not his parents or friends or anyone else. And that's exactly how I have felt about it. There's no reason for this child story to be told and shown to the internet and the world for him. He can certainly make this decision in several years once he's a little bit older, and he can tell whomever he wants to. But the way that these parents have used this for views and money is deplorable. It's disgusting, and it needs to be talked about, point blank, period. Let your child live. He's not free, and he won't be until you leave him some privacy. Literally, Eduardo, sick of watching YouTubers do this to their kids. Okay, so this is a long-time subscriber. She says, Jonathan, I followed your family since Anna was pregnant with Amelia and have always supported you, but this doesn't sit right with me. Calling the video coming out, then proceeding to not really give any clear information, but then allude to a book is really out of touch and somewhat disrespectful to the LGBTQ plus community. This video hardly gave us any information that we didn't already know and left me more lost than I was before. I hope you take all of these negative comments as constructive rather than haters, as it looks even members are feeling unsure on this. Yeah, this is not good. Your poor son, let kid be a kid. Let your son grow up and be private. You can still love him, support him. But he has no idea that his story is being broadcast to the world. Exactly. I could not imagine figuring this out as a teenager or a young adult and seeing that my parents profited off of something that I experienced as a child. That is so wrong. Especially when I'm a child that doesn't understand the internet, doesn't understand, kind of like a digital footprint on, once it's on the internet, it's there forever. People can find out additional info about you. It's just really gross. So the title really should have been, I have a book coming out. This is literally child exploitation. Thanks for the content up until now, but I will no longer be consuming your toxicity. And the whole thing with Jonathan is he has a history of doing things, receiving criticism, and calling it bullying. That he's being bullied. He's being, everyone's hating on him. And I realize that doing YouTube is hard. Putting your life out onto the internet is not an easy thing to do. However, I see this so many times where distinguishing between being bullied and actually having haters and trolls come for you versus people that are consuming your content but genuinely concerned and not happy with something that was said or done. It seems like this is such a struggle for people to differentiate between the two. For me, I've definitely experienced both, and I had to really kind of sit back and look at everything as a whole and figure out my thought process when it came to, okay, these are actually just haters, even though I hate the word haters, but okay, these are actually haters and trolls and they have nothing to add to the conversation, versus these are people who want to engage and they want to have a conversation with me and they should be able to be heard, and I will take into consideration what they're telling me. So it does seem like so many YouTubers, though, just categorize everyone as trolls, and that can be really damaging and insulting to the people who helped build your channel. Exactly what I thought. Always knew you were a narcissist. This is incredibly insensitive and this man needs to be stopped. Coming out should not be used to generate more money. This is a real insult to people who are truly feeling this. How can people support this man? And that's the other thing, is when someone clickbaits something like this, it discounts everyone else who is feeling those emotions or going through similar circumstances. And I just don't understand how, knowing that someone is doing this, people can still continue to support and cheer someone like this on. I don't get it. Eduardo is still a child, and I'm going to put it earlier in the video, I don't know if I said it, but Eduardo is only 7, so he's really young. This is literally a child that doesn't understand the gravity of what life is. What am I feeling? What are these emotions? And that's why it's so important to give him time and allow him to tell his story even when he's ready. And if he's never ready to, and he wants everything to be private, then that should be his decision, and it should not be on his parents to expect this and use it to grow their audience. It's gross. You've taken clickbait to a whole new level here. Why don't you slap the LGBTQ plus community in the face while you're at it? If you wanted to sell a book about your life, go for it. However, what you've done here is pure disregard for anyone's feelings but your own. You could have done something good with this, but instead your narcissism is shining through as usual. What a letdown. I'll never watch your channel again. So he's definitely upset even people that have supported up until now. And it's just really unfortunate. You know, you see these people and you want to support them and you give them chance after chance after chance. And then it comes to something like this where sometimes I do feel like the fame creates these really bad personality traits with some people, just because, you know, fame and recognition can change people. Some people it changes for the better, some for the worse. But I would say for this, it's definitely not created it's not created someone that I would want to support. And obviously even people who are longtime supporters aren't feeling it anymore, and they see how wrong this is. In conclusion, family vloggers are money hungry, basically. Not the right decision at all in my eyes. Let him tell his story when he's ready. His life is not your life. It's not your life to tell. Exactly. So I'm not going to, you know, most of them are in this same sort of realm of people just calling it for what it is. And this is really, really gross. And I think that there are different levels to kind of what family vloggers will do for money. And this has to be at like the bottom. This is like the lowest of the low as far as what they're doing with Eduardo. And I'm glad that people are calling it out. This is absolutely gross and it's reckless. And my heart breaks for Eduardo, because this content is, even if it is deleted, we know the internet's forever. And this should have never been shared on YouTube. It should have been something that they allowed him to tell the story when he was ready, point blank, period. And now you have this dude, you know, clickbaiting and bringing his son into something where it's like, if you're coming out with a book, just say you're coming out with a book. People that are interested will buy it. People that are not interested won't buy it. But with what he did with this was, even people that might have wanted to buy a book that he put out, because of how this was published and put out, he's lost those people that might have had a little bit of interest in reading something that he was coming out with. So either way, that's going to be it for now. If you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.